Imagine you stop flying for an entire year. You never buy a ticket. You never check a bag. You never walk through airport security, sit beside a stranger, or hear a pilot announce that your flight has been delayed. But during that year, you buy groceries. You fill your car with fuel. You pay for dinner. You order something online. And every time you use a certain credit card, an airline may still be making money from you. Not because you are traveling, because you are collecting miles. That sounds like a small side business, perhaps a clever marketing program designed to encourage your next vacation. But the numbers tell a much larger story. In 2025, American Airlines received approximately $6.2 billion in cash payments from its co-branded credit card and other partners. Delta received about $8.2 billion in remuneration from American Express. By the second quarter of 2026, Delta's American Express remuneration had reached $2.4 billion in a single quarter, rising 16% from the previous year. These figures are not perfectly comparable, and they are not the same as immediate profit, but they reveal the enormous scale of airline loyalty partnerships. So what exactly are the banks paying for? Why would a financial institution send billions of dollars to an airline? And how can buying groceries generate income for a company whose aircraft may be hundreds of kilometers away? To understand that, we first need to understand how difficult the ordinary airline business really is. An airline must purchase or lease aircraft costing tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars. It needs pilots, cabin crews, mechanics, dispatchers, airport workers, customer support teams, and thousands of other employees. It must buy fuel whether the ticket price is high or low. It must pay airports, maintain engines, operate technology systems, and prepare replacement crews when something goes wrong. And almost everything must work on time. A restaurant can sometimes keep unsold ingredients for tomorrow. A retailer can place an unsold product back on the shelf. But when an aircraft departs with an empty seat, that seat disappears forever. It cannot be stored and sold next week. At Delta alone, salaries and related costs reached approximately $17.5 billion in 2025. Fuel and related taxes cost about $9.8 billion. Maintenance materials and outside repairs added approximately $2.4 billion, while landing fees and other rents reached about $3.6 billion. Total operating expenses exceeded $57 billion. This is the business most passengers see. Aircraft moving between airports, tickets being sold, crews transporting people from one city to another. But behind that visible transportation network is a second machine. That machine begins with a loyalty program. The airline creates miles or points. A bank places the airline's name on a credit card. A customer applies for that card because the promised reward feels exciting. Perhaps the advertisement offers enough miles for a future holiday. Perhaps the card includes free checked bags, priority boarding, or airport lounge access. The customer begins using the card. Then something unusual happens. The bank pays the airline. Under these partnerships, airlines sell miles and provide branding, marketing access, and travel-related benefits to their financial partners. Payments are often linked to cardholder spending, new card acquisitions, and the volume of miles issued. Delta says payments under its marketing agreements are typically made monthly according to the volume of miles sold. American similarly reports selling miles to co-branded and other partners, with payment generally due shortly after the month of sale. So imagine you spend $100 at a supermarket. The supermarket processes the payment through the card network. The bank benefits from your card activity. Depending on the product, it may earn annual card fees, merchant-related revenue, and, when customers carry balances, interest income. The bank then awards miles connected to your spending. Those miles did not come directly from the supermarket. The bank effectively purchased access to the airline's reward ecosystem and supplied the miles to you. American Express states that its Delta co-brand portfolio generates card fees, interest income, and merchant discount revenue from spending on those cards. This is why a bank may be willing to pay an airline generously. The airline brand helps the bank attract customers, encourage spending, and keep cardholders from switching to another financial product. The customer sees a reward. The bank sees a profitable financial relationship. And the airline sees recurring cash connected to purchases that may have nothing to do with flying. This is the hidden transaction. The airline creates the reward. The loyalty program creates the currency. The credit card creates the spending, and the bank sends the airline real money. But calling miles a currency requires an important warning. Miles are not money in the normal sense. They are not legal tender. They usually cannot be exchanged for a guaranteed amount of cash. The airline controls how they are issued, where they can be used, which rewards are available, and how many miles a reward requires. That gives airlines something close to the power of a central bank inside their own private economy. They can issue more miles. They can change redemption prices. They can limit award availability. They can encourage spending through bonuses. And they can decide which products, routes, or partners receive the strongest incentives. But this power is not unlimited. Every mile represents at least the possibility of a future obligation. When an airline sells miles to a bank, it cannot always treat every dollar received as immediate revenue. Part of the payment relates to marketing services, branding, and benefits that may be recognized sooner. Another portion relates to future travel. That portion is generally deferred until the customer redeems the miles and the airline provides the flight or another reward. At the end of 2025, Delta reported approximately $9.3 billion in loyalty program deferred revenue. American reported a loyalty program liability of about $10.6 billion. These balances do not mean the airlines must pay that amount in cash tomorrow. They represent obligations connected to miles that customers may redeem over time. So the airline receives cash today, while part of the associated service may be delivered later. That timing is one reason loyalty programs are so attractive. A flight ticket requires the airline to operate a specific aircraft on a specific day. Miles can be sold continuously, while the actual reward may not be requested for months or years. Some miles are redeemed quickly. Some remain unused for long periods. Some may never be redeemed at all. Airlines estimate this unused portion, often called breakage, using historical behavior. But even when miles are redeemed, the economics can still be favorable. Imagine an aircraft departing tomorrow with 5 empty seats. Adding an award passenger does create some additional cost, but it does not require the airline to purchase another aircraft or hire an entirely new crew. The flight was already scheduled. The pilots were already being paid. Much of the fuel was already going to be burned. If that passenger uses miles for a seat that would otherwise have remained empty, the airline can satisfy part of its loyalty obligation using capacity that might have produced no ticket revenue. Of course, this becomes more complicated when the flight is full. An award passenger may then occupy a seat that could have been sold for cash. That is why airlines carefully manage award availability, routes, dates, and redemption pricing. The goal is not simply to give away free flights. The goal is to make the miles feel valuable enough to encourage card spending, while controlling the cost of the rewards. Delta reported that members redeemed miles for approximately 35 million award tickets in 2025, and award travel represented about 12% of the revenue miles flown on Delta. That is a significant part of the network, but it exists inside a system the airline can actively manage. Now compare the two transactions. To sell a passenger seat, an airline needs an aircraft, fuel, airport access, maintenance, employees, and a destination the customer actually wants to visit. To sell miles to a bank, the airline needs a valuable brand, an attractive reward program, and the promise of future benefits. Selling miles is not costless. The airline still owes rewards. It must operate the loyalty platform. It must provide benefits and protect the program's reputation. But the transaction can produce recurring cash without requiring one additional aircraft to take off at that exact moment. That is why the loyalty business can feel more stable than ticket sales. Air travel is seasonal. Demand can collapse during recessions, health emergencies, security events, or sudden economic shocks. Ticket prices change constantly. Fuel prices move. Weather disrupts schedules. But people continue buying groceries, paying bills, and using their cards. A co-branded credit card connects the airline to everyday consumer spending, even when the customer is not traveling. The strongest proof came when aviation nearly stopped. During the pandemic, aircraft were grounded and passenger revenue collapsed. Yet, airline loyalty programs remained valuable enough to support enormous financing transactions. In 2020, Delta issued $6 billion of secured notes backed by SkyMiles-related collateral. United arranged a $5 billion financing secured by mileage plus assets and associated cash flows. American later entered financing arrangements involving AAdvantage loyalty assets. Banks and investors were effectively saying that even when the aircraft were struggling, the loyalty ecosystem still had borrowing power. This reveals what airlines have actually built. Not just a points program, a behavioral system. Consider a traveler choosing between two similar flights. Airline A is $10 cheaper. Airline B offers miles in the traveler's main loyalty account, progress toward status, a free checked bag, and access to a familiar lounge. The traveler may choose Airline B even when the ticket is slightly more expensive. The loyalty program has changed the decision. Now consider the same person choosing a credit card. One card offers ordinary cashback. The other promises a large mileage bonus, airport benefits, and the possibility of a future business class flight. The second card turns routine spending into a story. Every purchase feels like progress toward a destination. A supermarket bill is no longer just a supermarket bill. It is supposedly part of a flight to Paris, Tokyo, or New York. That emotional connection is extremely valuable. The card is not merely offering points. It is selling anticipation. And anticipation can influence behavior long before the customer ever redeems a reward. Airline programs reinforce this through status levels, priority services, lounges, boarding privileges, and baggage benefits. Delta's agreement with American Express includes benefits such as baggage fee waivers, lounge access, and priority boarding for eligible cardholders. American allows members to earn miles and status-related loyalty points through co-branded cards and a network of more than 1,000 non-flight partners. These benefits create switching costs. A customer may have miles stored in one program, status with one airline, a card connected to that airline, familiarity with its app, access to its lounges, knowledge of its routes and redemption system. Moving to a competitor means rebuilding all of that from zero. The airline is no longer competing for only one ticket. It is competing to become the customer's default travel ecosystem. And this explains why banks and airlines need each other. The airline has something the bank cannot easily create: emotional access to travel. The bank has something the airline cannot easily create: a financial product used every day. The airline makes the card exciting. The bank makes the airline present in the customer's daily life. Together, they turn future travel into current spending. But there is a darker side to this machine. The first risk is devaluation. Imagine spending years collecting enough miles for a reward. Then the airline changes the number required. The flight that once cost 50,000 miles now costs 70,000. Or the desirable dates become difficult to book, or fees increase. The airline may improve its economics in the short term, but the customer may begin to feel that the promise has changed. A loyalty currency works only while people trust its future usefulness. Destroy that trust, and the customer may stop caring about the miles. The second risk is credit card debt. Miles can be valuable when a customer pays the full balance and uses the card responsibly. But rewards are rarely worth paying high interest charges. A customer who spends thousands of dollars unnecessarily or carries expensive debt to earn a flight may create more value for the bank than for themselves. The dream of free travel can become extremely expensive. The third risk is partner concentration. Delta states that substantially all of its cash sales from loyalty marketing agreements relate to American Express. American entered a long-term arrangement under which Citi became the exclusive United States issuer of its AAdvantage co-branded card portfolio beginning in 2026. These relationships can be enormously valuable, but depending heavily on one financial partner also creates risk. If contract terms, cardholder behavior, regulation, or competitive conditions change. The fourth risk is that miles still depend on flights. The loyalty business cannot float forever without the transportation network beneath it. If the airline service becomes unreliable, routes disappear, award availability becomes poor, or customers lose faith in the brand, the miles become less desirable. If the miles become less desirable, the credit card becomes less attractive. If the card becomes less attractive, customer spending and card acquisition may slow. And if that happens, the bank has less reason to purchase enormous volumes of miles. The loyalty program may look like a separate financial machine, but the aircraft are what make the rewards meaningful. This is why the statement airlines are really credit card companies is powerful but incomplete. Airlines are still airlines. They still need aircraft. They still need pilots. They still need passengers who want to travel. The loyalty program does not replace the flying business. It monetizes the desire created by the flying business. The plane creates the dream. The loyalty program turns that dream into a controlled reward currency. The bank distributes that currency through a financial product. The customer spends in pursuit of the reward, and the airline collects cash long before some of those rewards are used. This is why an airline can earn money when you buy groceries. This is why a credit card partnership can be worth billions. And this is why loyalty programs have become some of the most strategically valuable assets in aviation. The visible business moves people through the sky. The hidden business moves money through a network of banks, merchants, cards, and digital points. The airline sells a ticket when you fly, but through its loyalty program, it can also sell the possibility of a future ticket every time you spend. So what are airlines really selling? To passengers, they sell transportation. To cardholders, they sell progress toward a future experience. To banks, they sell miles, benefits, brand access, and customer loyalty. And to themselves, they create something especially powerful, a way to earn recurring cash from customers even when those customers are nowhere near an airport. The aircraft creates the reward. The loyalty program creates the currency. The credit card creates the spending. And the bank turns that spending into real cash for the airline. Airlines do not only transport passengers, they manufacture the dream of future travel, convert that dream into loyalty points, and sell access to those points to financial institutions. The flight may happen later. The money starts moving now.